all for coming. We appreciate you being here. Appreciate the support and enthusiasm for our program. And we just want to say that I'm very excited to announce, or maybe not announce, but present to you Coach Schottenheimer. Brian is a guy that we've got an awful lot of faith in to come in and run our offensive team. And just thankful that he has decided to work his way into the college ranks and choose Georgia. So then I was going to give Brian just a second to say a little something, and then we could start letting you guys ask whatever questions you want.
Yeah, I'm thrilled to be here. This is kind of a dream come true to get back into the SEC at an elite program. And appreciate Coach Rick and everybody giving me the opportunity, and really excited about it.
Okay, questions for either?
Coach Schottenheimer, Chief College at Ryan Jones Institution. Obviously, the biggest question, everybody, you've had a long career in the NFL. Why college? Why now?
Well, obviously, college is something I've looked at for the last couple of years. When I left the Jets, had an opportunity to interview with Coach Saban down in Alabama. Ended up choosing to go to St. Louis. Last year, I actually interviewed for the Vanderbilt head coaching job. Came up short with that, but it's been something that I've been looking at for a while. I mean, I played in the SEC. I love college football. When we're on the road, we obviously get a chance to sit down and watch some games. I'm always tuned into the Saturday afternoon game. Again, just the chance to come to an elite program like this. Obviously, Coach Rick's a huge part of the attraction for me. What they've done here, the history and tradition, was a big part of it.
What do you anticipate the difference in styles be as far as handling players at this level and the NFL level?
Well, obviously, again, I think it all starts with just the relationship. You know, I look forward to getting to know these guys. Again, I think they'll find out about me. I'm an upbeat, positive guy, but at the same time, there's going to be work that's going to be done. We're going to roll up our sleeves, get to work. But I look forward to that part. I really do. I look forward to getting a chance to mentor some of these young men. I have two small children of my own. And, again, I take very seriously the fact that I believe in the fact that I'm a good person, high character, good morals, and I try to pass it on to people, and look forward to working with these young men and helping them become better student athletes.
What are your thoughts on the quarterbacks you've got coming back?
Again, just kind of getting into the process now, kind of getting through some of that stuff. Spent quite a bit of time on recruiting film, to be honest with you. But talking to Coach Rick and staff, obviously we know there's a few guys, a couple guys starting to stick their nose in. Just met Bryce. Give you some more information on that here in the next little bit.
Coach, you talked about getting back to recruiting. You've been away from that for like 9 years. Anything you're quickly learning that's a lot different from what you got to do back then?
Yeah, it's certainly different. Obviously, the technology I think has changed a lot. I think it sounds like that's a good thing for both the schools and the student athletes. But again, the biggest thing again, obviously, is developing relationships. Obviously, the school here, the university here, speaks for itself, and what they've done here, obviously, is time tested. So, looking forward to getting into it. Again, the exciting thing for me is I'm coming into a situation with a great staff, a lot of guys already in place, and that's a big benefit for me.
Brian, do you feel like your situations in the past where you worked with a young Drew Brees, Phillip Rivers, and in this past year with the Rams, that helps you transition from the pro level where it can get a little complicated to dealing with 18, 19, 20-year-old guys?
Absolutely. Again, it seems like wherever I've gone, there's always been young quarterbacks. With that comes a challenge, but at the same time, it's fun. I mean, that's a passion of mine. I love working with quarterbacks. I love developing quarterbacks. Drew has become one of my best friends in the world. Just the time we spent together, both on the field and in the classroom, and then we certainly had some success. But again, that's a passion of mine, and something I think I'm pretty good at, and look forward to trying to continue that tradition on here.
Brian, this job came open, I guess, before Christmas. How was the process where you and Mark got together, and did you pursue it? Did you call you?
Well, I was having a lot of people pursue this job over time, and I think it seemed like in the middle of or during the bowl time, or the time in Charlotte, that the team was in Charlotte, is when Brian's name first surfaced, or at least began to resonate with me. There was a lot of as you can imagine, just a lot of texts, a lot of calls, a lot of emails, a lot of people shooting things to the office, an awful lot of interest. And then you have people calling for people, people texting for people, people emailing for people who they would like to get in front of George, in front of my attention. But it seemed like right in the middle of that, well, I guess early on in that time that we were in Charlotte, it might have been the day after Christmas, I don't remember exactly.
And this was something I certainly, this is a place that I had obviously been monitoring. You know, you see a guy like Mike gets a chance to move on, and it was something certainly that, you know, like I said, as I've been watching college football, there's certain guys competed against Coach Rick and, when I was in Florida, and again, this was one I kind of had my eye on, and so certainly was very interested and just happy it worked out.
Brian, when you come into an offense that has put up the numbers, been successful, do you try not to, change too much, or how do you approach that?
Well, again, obviously it's about sustaining that success. I think that's the goal, that's the objective. Again, I mentioned this earlier, the good thing about me is I'm coming into a situation where there's a bunch of really good coaches on the staff. Again, we're not going to reinvent the wheel. I think philosophically, that's one of the things Coach and I see in this, this program. We see things the same way, the pro-style offense. We're going to run the football. Obviously, that's a big part of what we're doing. And so it was really kind of an easy fit, an exciting fit, because not a lot of teams in college football are doing it that way.
Brian, obviously you've had a lot of experience calling plays and designing offense and that kind of stuff. Do you adopt what's been here and what the players already know, or do you come in and it's just a whole new terminology and a whole new playbook?
No, I think I really believe this. It's easier for me to come in and obviously learn what they've been doing. I think that's what's going to allow these guys to play, fast. Certainly there'll be some things that will have my fingerprint on it. But again, I'm excited about coming in and trying, like I said, to sustain the success that you guys have had here, and that's a big part of it. But again, when we got a chance to sit down and talk and visit, it's really not a big difference from some of the things that we were doing. It's really going to be a pretty easy fit, I think.
I think the terminology, it's really just a matter of semantics, a matter of how you call something. One of the greatest attractions for me, looking at Brian, is just the fact that we do think a lot alike philosophically, how to run the football, how to throw the football, how to protect, formations, just run combos at the line of scrimmage. It just and still believing in some two-back running game, but also being able to spread out and go to 3 and 4 receiver sets and take advantage of formations, motions, and be able to protect in a way where we can get 5 guys out, and in a way we can get 4 guys out. We want to be able to. The fact that we do things very much the same, and although we may call it just a little bit different, the big thing is the guts of it is going to be pretty much be very similar. I'm not going to sit here and say we're going to do exactly what we did, because we do want to know the things that Brian knows and things that can help us grow as an offensive football team. But we also didn't want to just totally stray away from the success that we've had in the style of play.
Mark, as all these names were rising, what separated Brian from
Well, I think just really the thought of having a guy that that was, again, very similar in thought, similar in scheme, similar in philosophy, because we run a pro-style attack, and a lot of teams across the country are spreading and doing a lot of zone read with quarterback run and protecting in certain ways, and it's just not really been what we're about. We're still very serious about running the ball a certain way, and having the diversity in the passing game to be as sophisticated as anybody in the country with our protections and with our route concepts. And we're not just throwing 4 verts and some smash routes and stuff there. We got a pretty intricate passing game and protection scheme, and we put a lot on our quarterbacks to make decisions at the line of scrimmage, and you know, I just think philosophically, we're very much the same.
Who's the better college quarterback?
Ooh. I'm gonna let you take that one too.
You'd have to ask my mom. We probably had similar careers.
Yeah, I was saying, I don't know if there's the same kind of career, almost same kind of career.
We had similar careers, yeah.
Yeah.
Not very
I'll be
exciting
hon- I will
careers,
be
right?
honest.
Not very exciting careers.
I'll be honest, there's a couple things that came up already that we had to get squared away right off the get-go. He started, somehow the term Gatorade got brought up, and I said, we're actually Powerade here. And then we talked about the game that we have in Jacksonville, and he did refer to it as the Florida-Georgia game, and I said, that's rule number 2. It's the Georgia-Florida game.
That almost did me in, truth be known. That almost did me in, so I've been watching it real close from that point on.
Just kidding, but you know, it's obviously, we think it's a really good fit. We're excited.
It seems pretty evident, you talked about the Vanderbilt head coaching job, but you had some NFL head coaching interviews as well. I mean, I guess ultimately that's remains your objective, your goal, a career objective to become a head coach?
Well, you know, again, obviously I'd love to become a head coach at some point, but again, I've also realized that, you know, the most important thing for me now is to be in a good spot, a place I believe in, a person I believe in. In this case, I'm thrilled about college football. I see it as a new journey, new start, new journey. Really excited about it, and I see myself in this game for a long time.
Brian, you referenced the staff you're going to be joining, and this might be for Mark. Are y'all pretty sure the other 3 are going to stay the same offensive staff-wise in terms of positions and the coaches?
Right at this moment, that's where everybody is, yeah. I don't see anything. I mean, you never know what anything, you know, what tomorrow will bring for anybody. But right now, we're solid.
And what would you be looking for that last spot, the opening that you do have on the staff?
Well, the offensive line coach, obviously, we gotta make that hire. And again, we gotta, you know, talking with Coach Schottenheimer, it reminded me of when I first became coordinator at Florida State. And, you know, I think every coordinator who's a quarterback's guy wants to make sure he's got the right offensive line coach with him, and knowing how important that hire is for not only the coordinator, but the team in general. And so we're just trying to do a good job of finding the right fit. And we've got really, quite frankly, a wide range of candidates as far as, you know, some college guys, some guys that have a little more pro experience, some guys have a little bit of college, a little bit of pro experience. But I think one of the biggest things that we're agreeing on is that this guy must be a great fundamental coach, a really good teacher of the run game, a really good teacher of the pass game, a guy that, because we think schematically we can get done what we need to get done. We just got to make sure that whoever's that line coach is going to be able to get our boys to execute, just like we talked in the bowl game when we were talking about Coach Lee calling plays and all that. We know the plays. It's just a matter of, you know, is it a good play because of the call, or is it a good play because of how well we executed? And that's the thing. We got to make sure we can execute, and that'll be a big part of the process in bringing in a line coach.
Brian, the friends you have in the coaching profession and the members of your family, what do they think of your move from the pros to Georgia?
They're excited for me. They really are. I think, again, they see that, you know, my heart's really here at Georgia. Obviously, there's a lot of guys I trust and respect. I mean, I've gotten so many calls truly saying what a great place Athens is. Obviously, many calls talking about Coach Rick, his personality. Again, I think that's important in this profession, that you know, not only believe in the people you work with, but that you respect them. Obviously, I have a lot of respect for him, the program, the way that it's carried itself. But everybody that I've talked to, you know, truly the people that I care about, I think it's a great move for me and my family. My family's thrilled. My wife's actually here probably spending money right now looking at houses and things like that. And we're all in, excited and ready to go.
A couple inevitable dad questions. What was his reaction specifically to
You know, I think, again, he trusts my instincts. He just loves the profession of coaching. I think he's really excited that I'm going to, again, another great place. I think he's always seen himself as a teacher, so I do as well. And I think, again, starting to train 17, 18-year-old young men, student athletes, is an exciting challenge for me that he's really excited for me, very fired up.
Was it inevitable that you would become a coach? I mean, was the way that you grew up, or was there anything else that you ever wanted to do, Alex?
Yeah, I really wanted to be a golfer, and then I started playing football. My hands started getting beaten on, and I couldn't play quite as well. But you know, truly around the age of 18 or 19, actually that's why I transferred from KU to Florida. Is I wanted to go down there and kind of learn the pro style offense from Coach Spurrier. And from that point on, I never looked back. And you know, Coach Rick and I've laughed quite a bit just about, you know, that process of going through it and figuring out what you want to do. And some people always ask my dad, they did, you ever try to talk Brian out of getting into coaching? He said, oh, I thought about it, but the fact that he wanted to do it means that I made it fun for him. I made it, you know, that it was a great profession and something that he wanted to follow my footsteps. So very proud of my father, obviously, but also excited about kind of, you know, carving my own path.
Can you give us an idea, Brian, kind of on the timeline? Like, it sounded like everything happened kind of quick from point of interview to being here.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, after you know, I saw that the job was open and it became a possibility that there was mutual interest, came and got a chance to visit with Coach and the staff. And again, it just, you know, when you sit down and you do these interviews, a lot of times it's just, sometimes it seems like a natural fit. And I was hoping I'd get a call from Coach and that it would be something that he felt as good about the interview and the connection between obviously not just the two of us but the staff, and was very pleased when he did call.
Mark, were you looking for, humility is the right word, the idea that, you know, you weren't going to get someone that was going to come in and try and reinvent the wheel, like you said, and trying to keep the continuity as much as you want?
It was important that we found somebody like-minded. But, you know, if Coach felt real strong about, you know, using every single bit of his terminology, just as long as it translated to what we know, you know, that's one way to go. But, you know, he felt like it might be wise for him to learn a lot of our terms that are, they mean the same thing that he did in the league, but it's more familiar with our guys. He felt like it'd probably be wiser for one guy to learn it rather than, you know, 60 people to learn it. And, you know, and again, we're talking about doing the same blocking scheme, and one guy calls it an ace and one guy calls it a slip. You know what I'm saying, or whatever it is. So some of those types of things. But you know, it's just like every off season, we would go and visit a guy like Coach Schottenheimer in the off season and say, how can we grow this system? How can we, what do you do in the red zone that might be good? Or, you know, so we're always as a staff trying to grow. And so now we've got a guy like him in the house who's going to be there with all the things and all of his experiences. So there's going to be there'll be some new route concepts. There'll be some new probably ways of running the ball. There'll probably be, we may change, you know, how we do a 2-minute drill or a 4-minute drill, or whatever it is, just, you know, using the you know, vast experiences that he's had. And, you know, so, but again, the core beliefs and the core system are so similar that was, again, one of the main attractions, other than his success and his ability to communicate and his ability to, you know, he, quite frankly, won over everybody on our staff throughout the interview process. It took about 4 to 5 hours, and it was outstanding.
Was that Monday?
It was actually Tuesday, I think.
Tuesday. So all your assistant coaches, or just offensive coaches?
No, the whole staff was there.
Right. First question: Has it been, I guess, 10 years since you had the cancer scare, right?
Yes, because my son's 10. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Something like that is bound to affect how you approach your job and your life afterwards. How did that affect you long term?
Other than it scared me in the beginning, my wife was pregnant at the time with our son's son, you know, kind of cause you to take pause a little bit, but it's really, other than taking 2 pills a day to replace my thyroid that's no longer there, it really hasn't changed me at all. You know, again, I think you know, I have a strong faith. That's probably goes back to that as well. But it really, you know, again, I'm aware of it. My wife actually reminds me of it more than anybody else if I go out and have a big meal and throw a little too much on some food or something. But again, obviously very healthy now and blessed that it wasn't that big of a deal.
Mark, how important it also is it to have a coach who can go into a home now and say, hey, I've coached all these NFL quarterbacks?
Well, there's no doubt, great teacher quarterback play, and that was, you know, I asked a couple just very fundamental quarterback questions, quarterback fundamental questions, just to kind of hear how he communicates, how he would communicate that to a young quarterback. You know, you get the impression, once you get a guy who's NFL caliber, you're not teaching him how to take a snap from center necessarily. You might say, well, this guy knows what he's doing in certain areas, but that's one of the first points he made. He said, we start from ground zero every camp on every fundamental that you know, that is important to a quarterback play. And we talked a little bit about, you know, how do you teach just the form throw, the fundamental of throwing from point A to point B. I just wanted to hear how he would articulate that, and just very precise in how he would determine it, but very simple, where guys can understand it. And you know, so I think that you know, I really enjoy the fact that he has coached some great ones. I think it's exciting to our guys currently, and I think it's exciting to, you know, quarterbacks in the future that are looking at Georgia. But not only that, I think when you're the coordinator, not just the quarterbacks coach, you've coached this receiver, this tight end, that running back, these offensive linemen over the years, and competed against guys that our players and our recruits idolize or they look up to. You know, so to have that experience and for them to know this guy, I mean, because I think a lot of players, you know, most all the players aspire to be in the NFL, and they want to hopefully be developed to get there. Well, now they know in Brian that he's been there, he knows what it takes, and he knows what it takes to, once you get there, to stick there. So all that's a real positive thing for recruiting, no doubt.
Brian, about your time with the Rams, and was it all frustrating or disappointing to leave when you had such a frustrating season with not having Bradford for a single snap?
Well, obviously, again, I'm awfully proud of the things we were able to do. We certainly had our fair share of adversity. You know, St. Louis is a great team. Coach Fisher, obviously, has been great to me and my family. So yeah, that's the bittersweet part of it. In terms of, you know, obviously losing Sam, you know, the last couple of years was difficult, but it's the next man up philosophy that you have to understand in this profession that we're in. It happens. But again, it wasn't as much about St. Louis as it was about this opportunity and this place and the chance to come here and coach with this guy that, you know, really got me excited. Again, the great thing about this profession, whether it's coach to coach or coach to player, is those relationships, the guys you go to battle with each week, the guys you work with so closely, those relationships never go away. You know, you hold on to them tight, and when you see them out on the road or you see them, you know, down the line and compete against them at some point, it's great to go and just check in and ask about families and things like that. So some great memories, obviously, but really looking forward to this new chapter.
What do you view as the biggest difference from NFL to college? Where are you kind of focusing on the adjustment? Will it be recruiting? Will it be?
Well, I think obviously recruiting is the biggest difference. I mean, football is football. You know, again, like Coach talked about, I mean, we can sit here and talk, you know, run schemes or pass protection schemes, and regardless of what you call it, that's not a huge difference. But the recruiting part of it, I'm really excited about. I mean, really excited about. Again, obviously, being in a place like this, you know, they almost sell themselves, and so again, excited to get here. And
we spent a lot of time on the phone last night, just trying to get up with the offensive players. But we've got committed and others that were working, but we got going on the recruiting, and it really is the first thing we've done so far.
What can you do recruiting-wise so far? I mean, I think you got to learn the thing, and you...
He came in, took the test.
Passed.
Passed it, yeah, passed the test, and was able to, get on the phone. And nowadays, you can DM or direct message a kid and ask him to call. I had already tweeted everybody about a hire, or they kind of heard about it. I asked if they had heard about it, and if they wanted to know more about it, they could give me a call. And then that was a couple of days ago, and then when Brian was in last night, I told him, he's sitting right here with me. If you want to meet your new offensive coordinator and say hello to him, give me a call. And so a bunch of guys took me up on that.
Did you have to see anything, or is there anything in the interview process to make you comfortable that he's going to be able to hit the ground running and recruit well?
Well, he's a great communicator. There's no doubt about that. His experiences have got to be exciting for any young player to want to gain knowledge from a guy like Brian, who has all these experiences in the NFL and at the collegiate level. So I think you can even just read some of the comments of some of the recruits, and about what do you think about this, what do you think about that. And I think there's been nothing but a positive spin and a lot of excitement on that. I think recruiting is about relationships. Recruiting is about communicating. Recruiting is about being honest with people, building, like I mentioned before, building those relationships and trust. And then also, people have to believe you're competent at what you do. They have to believe that somehow the University of Georgia and this coaching staff can help me develop into the best player, the best person, the best student I could possibly be. And that's what we've been selling since 2001, and that's what we'll continue to sell. And Brian, Brian was very sincere, because we asked him some questions as a staff, about making the transition, and I think Brian's very sincere about wanting to be significant in the life of young people, and that's kind of what's kept me at the college level my entire career. Earlier on, could I have moved on to NFL? I had opportunities, but I always felt like this age group of guys are a group that are still moldable and teachable, and I think we can make a difference in their lives, and I think that's what Brian articulated to the staff about his desire to come back, and also wanted to bless his family through the process. But that's kind of what helped solidify for me that he was serious about coming to this level of football, because it is more than just X's and O's when you deal with college student athletes.
Brian, did you have any prior relationships with anybody in that room that was talking to you?
No, I didn't. I think I met Coach last year. We came and worked out Aaron here. I think you were stuck somewhere and had to drive up.
Mm-hmm.
So he wasn't real friendly maybe at the time, because he's been in the car I think for a while. But no. But again, it was a real natural fit. It really was. I'm not just saying that. Sometimes you sit in an interview, or sometimes you sit in a place and you can't wait to get out of there. This was not the case. It was great give and take, and again, felt really good about the people, obviously, that Coach has surrounded himself with, and guys will be easy to work with. And again, that gets you excited. That gets you excited to want to come to work, and again, kind of walk shoulder to shoulder with these guys, and I'm just thrilled.
Got time for one more question?
Did you call Mike Bobo when you decided to pursue this, or maybe talk to any other assistants who have been here just to talk about their experience?
I've talked to the assistants out here. Coach Bobo reached out to me, which I really appreciate. He sent me a text. Shows the type of person he is. Just say, good luck, you'll love it. But again, getting to know the guys today has been great, and again, look forward to those being long and meaningful relationships.
Okay, we'll excuse Coach Schottenheimer.
Thank you, guys.
We'll